Hello viewers, welcome to my channel. If it's your first time of seeing me, my name is Emeka, the Chief Priest, also known as Mazi Chukwemeka. On this channel, I discuss spiritual tips and I help people live a spiritual active life. Today, I want to talk about some of the things that our ancestors did that we are supposed to consolidate or are supposed to maintain and sustain and continue from where they stopped. Because if you look at all those legacies that they left behind, it means that they were very intelligent. And today, even though we accepted this civilization, or what I call it modern civilization, or modern way of living, some of the things that we learned and the things that we are seeing today is actually clashing. And which means that we need to go back to the drawing board. We need to go back to the basics and know where the problem started and know where we got it wrong. Because I'm not saying that we should be against modernity or should be against um, civilization. Civilization in quotes. I'm not saying that we should be against it, but what I'm saying is that we should look at the legacies our ancestors left behind and see whether we can build upon it, because the future is ours. Those our ancestors have gone, our grandparents, great grandparents, and all the people that were here before us. They have left this place and gone. It's left for us to know what we should be doing in order to make sure this environment becomes habitable and also be a prosperous land for us. So I want to list out some of the things that they did in the past that worked very well, that today seems like it has been discarded but need to be reintroduced, and we need to cultivate on it and see how it progresses. Number one was our ancestors, when they used to pray, when they come to a casual gathering or an occasion, they don't remove their caps. You see this cap? This cap is for title holders. Forget that today we see a lot of young people that are wearing this cap because of adornment or because they want to costume themselves to look, fascinating in terms of dressing, or they want to showcase their culture. This cap is not to be removed. I know what I'm saying this. The only time you remove this cap is maybe by the time you come back from what you have done for the whole day, or maybe you want to allow fresh air to come into your head, but not during prayer times. Our ancestors have been teaching this, and this is what we need to keep. We need to consolidate on it. When our ancestors want to pray, they don't stand, they don't kneel, they only sit. See the way I'm sitting? I'm sitting comfortably here. They sit. They sit comfortably. They keep their caps on. They don't bow. And they don't raise hands the way they are told, raise your hands or kneel down and all that. No, that is not prayer. That is like when a slave has been captured and definitely you have to surrender. That thing is about surrendering. We're no longer captured. We're not fighting that kind of battle that we're surrendering ourselves. So to me, this particular new pattern of when they want to pray, they ask you to stand on your feet and they ask you to remove your cap and ask you to bow or ask you to kneel, it doesn't work. If you're practicing ordinary Igbo spirituality, if you're practicing African spirituality, it doesn't work. If you're practicing African spirituality, if you're doing that, your ancestors will be ashamed of you. They'll be ashamed that you are those things that they didn't do in the past, that you are doing it. Why are you doing it? Why submitting yourself to a foreign deity? when you are still in your own land. You can only do that maybe when you travel outside the country, and maybe you only do that because that's the only thing that could save you from that environment. Maybe you're at a gunpoint. But if you're in your own land, your own ancestral land, nobody should come and tell you to remove cap, kneel down, stand up, that we are praying to a foreign deity. You are not practicing African spirituality. It is left for those that are practicing that religion to be doing it. If I'm there, I will never do it. If I'm there, I will never remove. If I'm wearing a cap, I will not remove my cap. If I'm there, one day I'm standing, I'll sit. And I'll sit comfortably, and my eyes will be open. And I'll make sure I'm watching what is going on in that environment. Because that is how they collected our mandate from us. They collected our heritage from us. When our eyes were closed, by the time our eyes were open, they took so many things from us. So our eyes will be open. The only time you should close your eyes is when you are sleeping. Nobody should tell you to close your eyes because they want to pray. So that one has been dealt with. The second thing our ancestors never did was sleeping in the same room with their wives. That's the second thing. Our ancestors didn't sleep with their wives in the same room because they understand the issue of energy. When a woman is in her lowest energy, lower vibration, she can weigh the energy of a man down, which means that if a man has something that is planning to achieve or planning to do, when that woman's energy comes into that space, it weakens his own, and it makes him not to achieve what he's looking for. That is why great men don't always have that sexual relationship with their women. When a woman says she's seeing a monthly cycle, that's when you should tell her to step aside. You're not doing it out of wickedness or because you hated the women folks. No, you're doing it because of there's something called lower vibration. Let me give you for instance. If you have your phone and your charger, and you are supposed to receive an important call, and you left your phone with your child to play games with, maybe you have a downloaded game in your phone, and let's say you have charger, and or probably you don't have a power bank, something that you can use as an alternative way of charging your phone, and your battery is remaining like 5%. Would you allow that child to play with that phone, knowing that you're going to use that phone to receive an important message or call? I think you know better. So the best thing is to school that child, take away the phone from them, and let them play with something else aside from that phone. That is how it is with your ikenga. Your ikenga is not something you should play with. A man's ikenga, if care is not taken, it will be weakened. Because what weakens a man's ikenga easily is sexual contact. And when a woman is in a lower vibration, which is when she's seeing her monthly cycle, it lowers the man's energy and makes him to become inactive. He becomes very, very inactive. So that is why our great-grandparents or our grandparents, they built huts that many rooms, that they have their own personal huts where they sleep. And they only invite the women into this hut whenever they want to, maybe when they want to discuss pertinent issues or when they want to have sexual interaction with them. But in terms of everyday sleeping, they don't sleep with their women in the same room every blessed day. No, they don't do it. So these are the things that our ancestors did that we're supposed to learn from. Then another thing again is bathing with your woman. They didn't bathe with their women in the same bedroom, like showering with your woman, because anything can happen when you're showering with your woman. Probably is a day you are supposed to go for something serious, and you are there showering. Before you know it, you enter another sexual interaction. Because they were not supposed to allow their women to be seeing their nakedness. Unlike today, you see a man is always showing his odogu. When I mean by odogu, I mean your manhood. always showing your odogu to women, even to little kids. That is something, in fact, ever since I was born, I've never seen my father's nakedness. Yes, and that is how it's supposed to be. But today, many people have, threw caution to the wind. You see a man, a married woman, videoing herself. If a man that you're dating with your woman in the same bedroom, you must stop it today. You must stop it. It weakens your energy. I know you're trying to be romantic. I know you're trying to bond, but it weakens your ikenga as a man. Our ancestors didn't do was kneeling to propose to a woman. Our ancestors didn't kneel to propose to any woman. These things are just borrowed culture that today they are practicing Western, culture and to me civilization. But any traditional person or person that is practicing African spirituality, you're not supposed to kneel when proposing to a woman. Do you know what it means to kneel to propose to a woman? It means relinquishing. It means to give up your birthright. That's what it means. It means to give up your birthright, to hand over to the other person. It's like when you are doing hands over in government, you are giving out the whole document and say, I'm no longer in charge. That is what it means. When you're in some tribes will tell the person marrying their daughter to kneel. So both of them will kneel down and they will receive the parents' blessings. I want to kneel to receive blessings. And why I'm not doing it because I'm trying to show that I'm strong-headed or very disrespectful. No, as a chief priest, as someone that is given a mantle of authority, I'm not supposed to kneel before my fellow man to receive anything. Because if I'm kneeling, it means that my deities, as a chief priest, are also kneeling. That's what it means. So I'm not supposed to kneel. The highest I can do is to remove my cap if I'm wearing a cap. That's the highest respect I can do for you, is to remove my cap. But I cannot go below that. If it means I'm going to kneel and that's the only option, I have to live there. And I'm not doing it in sometimes of disrespect. I'm doing it because of the authority, the seat that I'm sitting on. That particular position of authority that was given to me as a chief priest. It means that I must not bow to any man, no matter who the person is.